Welcome back into NFL Daily, the live edition. I am Tom Downey, Stone Shields behind the scenes, producing today's show. What a good day to go live. We have had some chaos in the NFL trade market. Two major wide receiver trades, Amari Cooper and Davante Adams. Let's discuss the Davante Adams one first, since that was the first of the trades to go down. To the surprise of, I think, very few. My apologies for the Steelers fans out there who are probably feeling bad today. I get it. The Jets have landed Davante Adams in exchange for a conditional third-round pick. The Raiders did not get the second they were asking for. This one can become a second-rounder if the Jets get to the AFC title game or Super Bowl with Adams on the active roster, or if he's a second or first-team All-Pro, which seems pretty unlikely. Which both sides will probably be happy to pay if that does happen, by the way. So who won the trade? J for the Jets, R for the Raiders. Let me know in the comments of today's show. J or R, who do you think came out on top in this trade? John Edward Kruger's got J. The Bright Wolf has J. Gaming Wizard, Megan, all typing in their J's. Got a Raiders in there from Christopher Flores. William Cook, Tyler J, David Sims, Robert Bruce, all typing in J's. Ecuador Man, Kyle Robinson, and Richard Potts have the R's. We will spend some more time on this trade in particular, but there was another one that went down today as the Bills got Amari Cooper and a sixth-round pick in exchange for a third-round pick in this year's class and a seventh-round pick in 2026. So two pretty major wide receiver trades going down on the same day, with Amari Cooper taking his talents to Buffalo, and the Browns maybe setting up for some selling throughout the trade deadline. We shall see. Who won the trade? C for the Cleveland Browns, B for the Buffalo Bills, because we can't do B's for both because that's confusing, so we'll do the city name instead. Who won that trade? This one is the pin poll because it was the more recent one, which I think makes the most sense. So, get your votes in. C for the the Browns, B for the Bills. 76% for now voting for the Bills, 24% voting for the Browns, 23%. Fluctuating back and forth there. I will give credit. William Cook says Cooper for getting out of Cleveland. Yeah. He already posted an vague Instagram post of move or rust, basically. Which I'm sure he's glad because he's got a decent amount of targets this year. They just have not been catchable. So who won the trade, C or B? Let me know in the comments. We've still got about a month to go, just under a month to the NFL trade deadline. The Tuesday following Halloween this year. Who won the trade? C for the Cowboys, B for the Bills. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks. Makes getting tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. It filters out the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats, so you have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. It is curation designed to save you even more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Download the Game Time app today, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off. Terms do apply, but again, check out the comment section and the description of today's live stream for that link and promo code. Today's show also made possible by Prize Picks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least two players for a shot to win 100 times your cash. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play 5. You don't even need to win to get the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS for the first deposit match to get $50 instantly when you play 5. Again, sign up today. Get $50 instantly when you play 5 using code CLNS over at prizepicks.com/CLNS. Jeremy Chugs is watching. Says, Tom, what are you wearing? It's clearly a hoodie, Jeremy, which I think you have on in your profile picture. So two questions for you guys. Do you like the hoodie? Y for yes, N for no. 1 to 10. How baked is Jeremy in that profile picture? Because I think that might be a 15. Also, the stash does not look good, Chugs. So, yes or no if you like the hoodie. 1 to 10, how baked is Jeremy in his profile picture on that one? And yes, it is chilly. That's why I'm wearing it. We'll go back to non-silly questions. How many quarterbacks go in round 1 this year? There's also an 8 and a 6.9 on that front. So, Richard says 20. Jeremy's spamming no by himself there. Okay. Ecuador man, DC Viper say 3 on how baked Chugs is. Or maybe that means quarterbacks in round 1. Probably should have gone back-to-back low number and high number questions on that front. How many QBs go in round 1 this year? 3, 4 for, I'm guessing it's Jeremy or Pete or Petey on the Chat Sports account right now. That'd be my guess. Okay, Ecuador man said 3 quarterbacks. That makes more sense. I'm very curious to see what the quarterback conversation looks like because I don't love any of these guys. I have concerns about all of them. We'll talk about them all in depth on today's show. But we'll see. DC Viper says 10 for Chugs being baked and 3 for the QBs going in round 1. Richard Jonathan say 4. Teams do overdraft QBs, and I think there's a real chance we see that this year. There are some very intriguing options, but they've all got pretty big question marks that could very well be deal breakers in the end. The Great Duke Bothers also says 6.9 for the baked Jeremy question and the quarterback question, which I think is pretty funny. Jeremy says take it off and Stone blink twice if you're in trouble. Well, he can bring himself up if he needs to. We have the capabilities there. So I don't know if you want me to take this off, Jeremy. Also, it's a blue shirt underneath, and that's just not going to look good at all. So I like the hoodie. I think it's comfortable and looks normal too. It's not a big Cowboys logo on it like I often wear on that show either. So if you are ready for us to start today's live stream, then simply like the video. I hope Jeremy and or Petey have liked the video. Otherwise, that's pretty embarrassing as employees there. So hope you guys have liked that. Like the video if you haven't already done so. We can get today's show going. Always aiming for that 50% like ratio. We're not quite there. We're not overly far away, but we still got some room to grow there. Phrasing intended. Coming up on today's live show, we'll get to Jeremy's super chat here in a second. And we've got news and rumors. The trade stuff obviously dominating conversation since that went down today and has very much changed the landscape of the NFL for this season. A mailbag, 2 ways to get on, hashtag NFL, or you can super chat. And we'll run through the ESPN 2025 NFL Draft quarterback rankings, which not the worst rankings I've seen. Probably some valid question marks overall when it comes to the groupings and the tiering. And I think the projected rounds I might have some of my biggest issues with there. But as what's coming up on today's live show, before we get to that, Jeremy's doing one more super chat, which, hey, Chugs, I appreciate it, my friend. Chug says, Stone, answer carefully. Your PTO depends on it in terms of blink twice if you are in trouble. We'll bring that up here in just a second once it updates there. So, Stone, they can't fully see you, I guess, but I guess blink twice if... Okay, see, now you're blinking... You'll blink like 4 times. What does that mean? What is it? Does it cancel it out? Yeah, you got me up here twice too. Well, what are you doing? You can't. If I stand like this, you can't totally see. But because yeah, there you go. Because there's a second layer there when you do it that way. There you go. So I guess can't blink anymore. So I guess you're fine. I guess you're fine. We'll get set up here for the remainder of today's live show. Remember to like it if you haven't already. And everyone type Chugs in the comment section as well. If you want to give him some love for showing up and having some fun on today's live stream as well. We'll break down news and rumors, do a mailbag, get your questions in now via hashtag NFL or Super Chat, and we will break down the ESPN quarterback rankings. All coming up live here on NFL Daily. busy day across the NFL. Most notably, two major trades went down today. First up is the Davante Adams one. As the Raiders, as so many people thought, expected, predicted to happen, have indeed flipped him to the New York Jets as Adams gets to reunite with his old buddy Davante Adams, and technically Nathaniel Hackett too. The Raiders getting a conditional 2025 third-round pick. The conditions on that can make it a second-rounder, which is what the Raiders wanted initially, if Adams finishes first or second team All-Pro and or the Jets make it to the AFC Championship game or Super Bowl with Adams on the active roster, both of which seem pretty unlikely. So it'll probably end up being a third-round pick. The Jets are eating all of the money. The Raiders did not eat any of it, as Adams gets out of Vegas and gets to go home or reunite, I should say, with Aaron Rodgers, which will probably lead to better results than what we've seen the last year and, I guess, 3 games from Adams, where he hasn't been as good, still a 1,000-yard receiver, but wasn't as good as he was with Derek Carr, wasn't as good as he was with Aaron Rodgers, which I think that tends to make sense because it's not the same caliber of quarterback he's been catching passes from the last 2 seasons. So who won the trade? The likely third-round pick to the Raiders, Davante Adams to the Jets. Vote in the comment section. J for the Jets, R for the Raiders. Let me know who you think won that trade. That was not the only trade that went down today. The Browns are moving on from Amari Cooper, flipping him to the Buffalo Bills a couple hours only after the Davante Adams trade went down as we were getting ready for today's live show. A little bit more complicated in terms of the involvement of the draft picks here. No conditions, of course. Browns getting a 3rd and a 7th round pick. That 7th round pick comes in next year's NFL draft. The Bills getting Amari Cooper and a 5th or a 6th round pick in the 2025 NFL draft. Amari Cooper has had plenty of targets this year. He hasn't caught nearly enough of them. Some have been drops. His drops are already at a career high, which, given the fact that the most drops in his career have come in the 3 years in Cleveland, might be a quarterback indication, or it could be a sign of decline. The Browns had already restructured Amari Cooper's contract to save money, and now they're going to have to pay it in the end. Allow them to get a bigger asset back than what they gave up to get him. Remember, the Browns flipped a 5th and a 6th round pick swap to get Amari Cooper from the Dallas Cowboys years ago. Several years ago, I should say. And they get a 3rd round pick and other minor pick swaps later on from the Bills. In terms of return on your investment, pretty good for the Browns. Also puts them in kind of a tricky spot at wide receiver, given their own quarterback play, which we will talk about later on in today's show. So who won the trade? C for the Cleveland Browns, B for the Buffalo Bills. It is the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know. C for the Browns and B for the Bills. Sticking with the Jets here. A real chance you see Mike Williams moved next. The Jets are reportedly down, open, shopping, whatever terminology you want to use there, to moving on from Williams and what is only a vet minimum base salary because they don't have a need at wide receiver. The Davante Adams role and the Mike Williams role are pretty overlapping for a player that just doesn't separate the way that he used to. There's already Garrett Wilson. You know they're not getting rid of Aaron Rodgers' buddy, Allen Lazard. So Williams is now at best wide receiver 4 with no special teams value. Plus Xavier Gipson offers you some return stuff and special team stuff and some gadgety things that you don't get out of Mike Williams. Yeah, already are going to stash Malachi Corley, the 3rd round pick this year. The need isn't there for Mike Williams. So will a team come calling? Maybe. It's not going to be a big return on the trade. I think you're getting maybe a mid to late day 3 pick at best. But if you're a team like, say, Pittsburgh, that has missed on all the wide receivers that have come available, calling on someone like Mike Williams wouldn't be the worst idea. Today's NFL Daily is made possible by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks that makes getting tickets to your favorite team's play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. It is curation designed to save you even more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. The Game Time guarantee is this. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. To repeat, same section, same row, find tickets that are cheaper, they're going to credit you 110% of the difference. So if you're buying tickets to any event, make sure you're using Game Time. Download the Game Time app today over at gametime.co. Create your account and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. But again, create your account, redeem code CHATSPORTS, CHATSPORTS, for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time because time is it. It's game time. Let's talk the possibility of a Haason Reddick trade. He has a new agent. It is Drew Rosenhaus. Now, Rosenhaus has said publicly he wants to work things out with the Jets. However, the Jets have granted him permission to seek out a trade, perhaps because the Jets are just trying to get Reddick to realize the market isn't there for the extension he is searching for. So come on back, and then you can hit free agency next year. Now, of note, we did not learn this till the other day from Josina Anderson. The Jets flipped this part we did know, a 2026 third rounder for Haason. That was all known. Apparently, if they trade him to an NFC team, one of the conditions on that is that it immediately becomes a second rounder. So they can't trade him to an NFC team if they're going to do it. That's unless they get like a second round pick back, that would be a disaster for the Jets. Now, Rich Cimini of ESPN, I think, summed it up pretty well with what Reddick has lost already and what he faces. He has skipped all team events since the spring. He has forfeited $4.8 million in game checks, plus another $5 million in NFL-mandated fines. If he doesn't report by week 13, he will not get credit for the season. His contract will toll, and his 2025 rights will still belong to the Jets. So we are getting close to decision time here for Reddick and everybody else. He is the one of two players with double-digit sacks in 4 straight seasons. The other guy is named Myles Garrett. You might have heard of him. I get he wants to get paid. His own agency dumped him. That's the pretty clear sign of it is the player's fault, not the team's, not the agents. The player has made some mistakes along the way here. So where will Haason Reddick end up playing his first game this year? Let me know in the comments section of today's video. Where will Reddick play if he plays in 2024? Let's go to quarterbacks this time with Pittsburgh, as it certainly seems like Russell Wilson is primed to take back the starting job from Justin Fields for the Steelers. He is going to get the first team reps. That would put him in position to start after not playing at all this year, coming off of a calf injury, a re-aggravation of said calf injury. The plan entering the year for Pittsburgh was to make Russ the starter. They're not paying him anything, hoping he can kind of refine some of his Seahawks form with the Steelers. I am at least somewhat surprised that Pittsburgh is choosing to move away from Justin Fields because of his mobility, because of the results in terms of the wins on the field. I don't think that the overall play has been that spectacular. He hasn't been a very good play-action quarterback. There's been some mistakes with just being a pure passer. He's still kind of the same guy he was in Chicago. They also didn't rule out playing both guys, which feels like a chaotic idea. But it sounds like it's going to be Russ's chance to take over a 4-2 Steelers team and guide them to the playoffs and above 500 as Mike Tomlin does every single year. So is starting Russell Wilson the right move? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know in the comments of today's video. Let's talk some Week 6 takeaways. The Dallas Cowboys are a mess. There's no way around it. I don't think there are worse vibes out there for any NFL team that's 3-3 in history than this particular Dallas Cowboys team. Most people thought they'd be 3-3, but it wasn't going to be 3 losses at home by like 70-something points. Like, that's not what it was supposed to be. Instead of points like the first halves of both games. The Cowboys are a mess. Mike McCarthy doesn't seem to be it at all. Jerry Jones is yelling and threatening to replace the radio hosts of his weekly interview on 105 through the Fan. It's a disaster right now. The vibes are bad. The way they've gotten to 3-3 does not inspire a lick of confidence. And coming up next, by the way, Niners, Falcons, Eagles, Texans, Commanders. They might lose all 5 of those games because I don't know if they're better than any of those teams right now. It is bad right now in Dallas. And if it doesn't get good quickly, maybe you actually do see a rare in-season firing by the Dallas Cowboys. Takeaway number 6. Look, there's no way around it. It's not all his fault, but he's the quarterback of the worst offense in football, and a lot of it is his fault. Deshaun Watson stinks. And I don't know who's actually in charge of deciding who starts at quarterback for Cleveland. I don't know if Kevin Stefanski actually has the power to bench him. But you got to feel bad for those teams, the fan base, and the head coach of got to start starting him each week. First 6 weeks of the season, Deshaun Watson has generated minus 66.2 EPA per play on dropbacks. So when he drops back to pass, the Browns' offense is losing 66 points. It's unbelievable. So over 10 per game. The previous low this millennium was 62.8 by this dude named Jamarcus Russell. That is how bad it is in Cleveland. And given the fact that we saw Joe Flacco look pretty decent, or at least better, under Kevin Stefanski, kind of feel like it's a Deshaun Watson issue. He doesn't look comfortable back there. His pocket presence sucks. He's not seeing the field well at all. He is a huge issue in Cleveland. Now, we are just 77 subs away from 382,000 here on NFL Daily and on Chat Sports. Help us get there. Hit that sub button right now. Takeaway number 3. Look, Nick Sirianni needs to chill. I don't get, and I get that is the Philly personality. I think it's a terrible look for your head coach. What other head coach out there is yelling at his home team fans after a win? They barely beat the Browns. That was not a celebrate, I told you so type of performance. They continue to not move the ball in the first quarter. This is not actually a new offense under Kellen Moore. It's like 95% the same that it was previously. Now, maybe that's a comfort level thing with the quarterback. Maybe it's Sirianni imparting what he wants. I'm not fully sure. We might never know truly. But this has not been good enough. And you don't get the grace that you had when you were winning a bunch of games, pulling that move when your team has struggled over almost the last calendar year. You got to chill, Nick. Because this is the type of stuff that if it's close about your job security, it's the thing that could tip it in the wrong direction. Speaking of job security, boy, you got to feel like the Jags are about to blow things up, right? You know, we mentioned how the Cowboys stretch is about to get bad. They should beat the Patriots in London. Now, should is the qualifying word there because they might not. And if they lose to New England, got to wonder if Doug Peterson gets fired. Even if they win that game, the next 5, Green Bay, Philadelphia, Minnesota, Detroit, Houston. Like they could legitimately be 2-10. And that be a better outcome. At that point, there's no way Peterson survives. And Trent Baalke shouldn't survive either. Been a bad year in Jacksonville. The head coach doesn't seem to be in the best mindset either. I think you can get some real change in Jacksonville this season. Finally, Caleb Williams once again looked pretty darn good for the Chicago Bears. Even at the beginning of the season when the stat sheet didn't look that great, the underlying stuff was there of the numbers are about to be here. The good play is about to be here. I actually been very impressed by how much control Caleb has pre-snap. I think it is very telling how comfortable he is in the offense and how confident he is. I think that bodes well. But he's by no means a perfect player. I still think Jaden Daniels is probably the favorite to win Rookie of the Year as of right now. We've seen some good stuff from Caleb the past 2 weeks. And if you are a Bears fan, yes, you should be feeling pretty excited about where this team and where this quarterback is at. All right, it is mailbag time here on NFL Daily. So get your questions in via hashtag NFL or by super chatting. We'll get to William Cook's Super Chat as part of the mailbag today. It's hashtag NFL to get you in the queue. Of note, if you don't use hashtag NFL, Stone cannot find your question. It will just be buried behind everything else that is in there. So those are your two options to getting on today's mailbag. Use hashtag NFL or skip that line altogether with a super chat. Richard, I see yours. I appreciate that. I saw DC Vipers in there as well. So keep the comments and questions coming here with that hashtag NFL. That way Stone can find your questions. We can have some fun. I like doing the mailbags. They're fun. They're entertaining. And I think you get some really good football talking question points as well. Got a $5 super chat to begin today's show from William Cook. Will fan apathy change Jerry Jones' approach to the offseason? Maybe. Look, I think part of the reason why Jerry was so mad and angry and frustrated on his, and frankly pissy on his interview is he knows that everyone's right. He knows that this is not going well, and he's mad at it. He's mad at himself a little bit. He might not want to admit it, but it struck a nerve because it is a real valid complaint to have about this team. They can and should have $100 million in salary cap space pretty easily if they want to. Will they change their approach? I have to see it before I truly believe that it would go down that path. Chualor, should the Cowboys fire Mike McCarthy and replace him? Yes, they should. I don't know if it's going to happen. It takes a lot for Jerry Jones to do that because they've admitted they don't like paying coaches to not work for them. And maybe the tank commander angle, it's better off if you keep Mike McCarthy in there instead. I would be blown away if Mike McCarthy was your head coach at the end of the regular season. Give it like 2 or 3 days. Or once the season ends. How about that? In case they make a magical playoff run that gets to 1 game. I'll be pretty shocked if that happens. Who it is? Jerry doesn't like new coaches, so look at your guys with head coach experience, which is maybe not the best group out there. Gaming Wizard, will Myles Garrett get traded? No. The Browns, I think, have resigned themselves to the fact it's just not going to work this year. They're too far behind. They're not good enough. The quarterback's been terrible. But the 2 years from now, next year, if I want you to do a quarterback, 3 years, whatever, Myles Garrett still fits that timeline. I don't think Amari Cooper did. Now, you can try to call about him, and if Myles just demands a trade or something and they pick Watson over him, which seems unlikely, different conversation. But I would bet Garrett stays, and they give him a new contract next offseason. From Christian Anderson, with Davante and Amari dealt, is DeAndre Hopkins next? Wouldn't be a huge surprise. I wonder if Tennessee will wait until closer to the NFL trade deadline and try to, bring down the money that a new team would owe him a little bit and try to maximize that trade value. Amari went for a third-ish. Adams went for a third-ish. Maybe he doesn't go for quite as much, but that's what they're going to be asking for. And they have some time and patience ability to not pull the trigger on the first deal that they end up getting offered. So will the Titans trade DeAndre Hopkins? Y for yes, N for no. We'll make it the pinned comment on today's video. So if the ad comes here on YouTube, take advantage of it. Head down there and let me know Y or N. DC times Viper, is Caleb Williams starting to become a dangerous quarterback? He seems to be getting better and better every week. I think so. I like a lot of what I've seen so far. I think the biggest thing is he's a little bit more willing this year than he was last year at USC to kind of take the easy stuff when given to him. He still has that incredible playmaking outside of structure stuff. It's still going to be up and down. He's a first-year quarterback. The C.J. Strouds of the world sometimes get us to expect more than what we're going to get out of him in most cases. So I am very impressed by Caleb Williams overall. I think the underlying stuff was there. Like the box score didn't show it. The film's okay. It's there. It's going to happen soon. It has happened the past 2 weeks. The teams have not been great, but that's what you want to see anyway. So I do think Williams is on the right path forward here. Robert Bruce, hey everyone at Chat Sports. Good to be back. Thank you, my friend. Patriots team, they're going to end up with a top 5 pick. I think we should trade it and get some offensive line help. What do you think? Makes sense. I think if it is a team that has like a Drake May already at quarterback, like New England gets that number 1 pick, number 2 pick. They would love it if a team gets desperate for a QB so that they can trade down. The tackle class in general is a little bit weird. I like William Campbell and Kelvin Banks a lot. The arm length concerns are going to be issues for several teams, including potentially New England, which could mean that you trade down, still get somebody very good a little bit later, or you get a playmaking wide receiver like McMillan or Burden out of Arizona and Missouri. But I think for a team that is clearly rebuilding like New England, trading down extra assets, that's a smart move. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. It is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. You can run your game all season long on Prize Picks. They've also got college football options for you. I'm going Quinn Ewers less than because he hasn't hit that number only twice this year, 252.5. Less than for Carson Beck, 266.5. Arian Smith's had some pretty big games, some big explosive plays, so I'll go the more than and kind of balance a little bit. I'm doing the flex play. Prize Picks invented that. It allows you to still get a pick wrong and still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. So go sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play 5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It is guaranteed. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS and use code CLNS to get that $50 instantly when you play 5. DC times Viper. Oh, the teams with a 500 record. Who looks the worst out of all of them? So that is Indy, Denver, Dallas, Niners, Seattle. I think that the overall vibes, I feel like the vibes are worst right now for Dallas. I don't believe in teams like Denver and Indy necessarily either, but it is the way Dallas has gotten there. Good win over a Browns team we thought was going to be good. Turns out they're not good. A blowout loss by the Saints, who haven't won a game since. A actually bad loss to the Ravens that was closer than it was supposed to be, than the final score indicates. Narrow win over the Giants. Good, hard-fought win over Pittsburgh. Blowout loss by the Detroit Lions. I feel worse about the Cowboys so far. A $5 super chat from Vaping Soldier. What should the Chargers do? You might not like my answer, but I think you just stay the course. This was supposed to be a bit of a reset year for LA. Kind of figure things out, figure where you're at, get your books in order, build around Justin Herbert, establish the ground game, establish a culture with Jim Harbaugh. They've done a good job of that so far. And they have a very good defense with Jesse Minter. I love what he is doing. The ground game has been effective, despite Herbert being banged up for a good portion of the year. Stay the course. Don't sacrifice your draft assets. You're probably going to still need them. In an AFC that beyond your top contenders is pretty wide open, LA can be a playoff team if they stay the course and keep playing like they have so far this season. Alexander Roman, can the Lions get Max Crosby or Micah Parsons? I mean, you can try. I have my doubts that either team would trade those guys. The Raiders are rebuilding, but I don't know if Max has reached the point he wants out. He has always been a key leader and the driving force of that entire franchise, player-wise. You can make a strong argument Dallas is better off trading away Micah Parsons, getting those assets and kind of jump-starting your reset there and not spending the giant contract on him. But they also don't like to make decisions at a proper time, so I wouldn't get my hopes up there. But if I am the Lions, I am calling around about pass rush. I'm calling about Josh Uche in New England. I'm calling about Zadarius Smith of the Browns. Probably can't get Trayvon Walker or Josh Allen, but those not good football teams. Devion Clowney in Carolina once he's healthy. Like I'm saying, hey, do you want to trade us your guy? Because Detroit has to go get another impact pass rusher. They are too good to let that potentially be a downfall to their Super Bowl hopes. Speaking of trades, I want you guys to put your trade ideas in the comments section. Let me know in the comments what your trade idea or ideas are. Chase Wolf, with the Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers connection, they have a chance to win the division and make the playoffs. Is Aaron done? They were very competitive against the Bills. And I know they're technically behind the Dolphins in the AFC East in third place because the Dolphins have played one less game, so they have the half-game advantage there. I think the Jets are an above 500 football team, and I think that they can get there. I don't know if they can catch the Bills right now, but I do think they can find their way into the playoff hunt. Rodgers has not been consistent, but I've seen good stuff from him still. I saw some good stuff last night, some not so good stuff either. So I think they can make a push. I just don't know if it's going to be enough of a push to make the deep playoff run that they're hoping for. Now, if you want to be a part of future mailbags here on NFL Daily, subscribe. That's all you got to do. That way you can get the notification when we go live. Hit that sub button if you haven't already. DC Times Viper, would the Bears get calls for Keenan Allen if they considered shopping him? I do think they would get calls. In fact, I wouldn't be overly shocked if they have already been getting calls for him. Coming off only 5 catches, but 41 yards and 2 scores against the Jags, I think they want to have that veteran presence for what is otherwise a pretty young offense, and especially the offensive receiving corps. Obviously, DJ Moore is not that young, but Tyler Scott, Rome Odunze, Caleb Williams are all first or second year players. I think they like having that veteran asset. If they got a big time offer and or they kind of fade down the stretch these next couple of games, maybe I think they might be more inclined to just kind of stay the course right now. Kyle Robinson, with Davante out, the Saints will make a move for a receiver. If so, what are their realistic options? I always thought for the Saints, this was a little bit more of a Davante Adams or bust trade of Derek Carr is there. That's why you have interest in Davante Adams. Now, as of filming, I don't have a bunch of great details on how severe those injuries they suffered at wide receiver are. You know, it's the knee, I believe it is, for Rashid Shaheed, and concussion for Chris Olave. In theory, Olave's back pretty soon. The depth behind them is not the greatest. They have a veteran, Cedric Wilson, rookie and Bub Means, who made a nice touchdown catch. So I don't think they make a move. If they do, it might be like a cheaper veteran. Hopkins would be the big name, but you can get Tyquan Thornton for free. Maybe call about a Christian Kirk, which if Shaheed misses time, a speedier guy like Kirk could actually make some sense for them. But it'd be expensive, and with 4 straight losses, maybe that's not the route the front office wants to go. Skip Peters, who gets fired next among NFL head coaches? I'm still going to put my money on Doug Peterson, who I would have bet as the first head coach fired initially, and I'll double down on that, I guess. It's not working in Jacksonville at all. It's just not good enough, period. So I think Doug Peterson is the next man to get fired. Who do you think it will end up being? Peterson, Mike McCarthy, plenty of other names out there. Let me know who you want or you think will be the next NFL head coach fired. From Robbie Thedford, how would you grade the officiating so far? It's never been good. That Jets-Bills game, I'm sure you guys all watched it. Like, what are we doing out here? Why are we throwing so many flags on so many just not good calls? Like these guys are just not good at their jobs, and the advent of instant replay and high-def TV makes it very clear that they struggle at it. So I don't think it's good. I don't think it's ever been good. I'm glad everyone else is on board with agreeing with that, because I don't think they're very good at their particular jobs. Now we got Thursday Night Football this week in the Sean Payton Bowl. Broncos Saints. Who you got? B for the Broncos, S for the Saints. Get those predictions in for me. Who you got? B or S? Can the Saints get back on track? Can Denver win the recovery game or the Peyton revenge game? Do we have an L3 for this next segment to open up on that? Open up. I didn't put it in the script, but DC's feeling a Saints blowout game. This, we have seen some ugly Thursday night games over the years. This could be like a 9-6 disaster of offenses. Like I don't think I would not be surprised by that. You got rookie QBs, short week, Sean Payton trying to get the win over the Saints, etc. I think this could be a very ugly football game on Thursday night. It could be the polar opposite of that Bucs-Falcons thriller, where it could be. Remember that was it the Broncos-Colts game a couple years ago on Thursday? I think it was Thursday night. Like it could look like that. I'm sure the over/under is low, but it could be a real doozy. So get those votes in. B for the Broncos, S for the Saints. We're taking a look at the ESPN 2025 NFL Draft Quarterback Prospect Rankings, the hot board, as Jordan Reed called it. 13 prospects were ranked on this list. We'll mention them in order and also mention what the projected range was for each of these guys. So, number 1, according to ESPN, to the surprise of few, because ESPN has really hyped him up, Shedeur Sanders. There are things I like. He has got a very quick throwing motion. He's generally very accurate. I think his poise, despite being pretty pressured a lot, is solid. He does tend to take too many sacks. His pressure to sack rate is still a little bit too high. I don't think the arm is special, and I would be most worried less about the on-field stuff and more about like, hey, he called out his offensive line, he called out his old teammates. Like, is that a potential concern? Can you get him outside of the Dion bubble that might make things like, can he lead A-Rock? All the intangible stuff is probably a bigger concern. He doesn't run much because he's not a true, Jaden Daniels dual threat, but he can move in the pocket and has some ability as a runner. Just a lot of sacks have brought that figure down. Projected range was round 1. I think someone takes him in round 1, but I think those combine interviews in the pre-draft process will be pretty critical for him. So who do you think will be the first quarterback taken in the 2025 NFL Draft? Let me know in the comments of today's video. Number 2 is Cam Ward. I have seen Cam Ward play really good football before. We saw it at Washington State to open up several seasons in a row. The thing that he's done better with is he has cut down some of the, I call it his intrusive thoughts, where sometimes he's a little bit too much of a gunslinger for me. And you've seen it against Cal, against Virginia Tech. So I'm just like, he's passing on the easy stuff, trying to find the highlight reel play, and it just leads to carelessness and disastrous head-scratching decisions that remind me too much of some Zach Wilson, Will Levis stuff. He holds the ball very long to hunt for those big plays. He has shown the clutch gene, though, as well. And if you're a team that has a quarterback that just doesn't make plays for you, like the Giants and Daniel Jones, I can see why you would be very intrigued by Cam Ward. I still think some second half season consistency is needed. That has gotten him into trouble in his previous 2 years at Washington State. Let's go to Carson Beck at Georgia. Now, the first 2 guys were first-round picks. This is late day 1, early day 2. He was kind of like the placeholder number 1 quarterback to an extent. He was solid. He was steady. He's pretty efficient. He's pretty accurate, all things considered. But I don't know if he has the elite elevating talent. Now, I'll give him credit. He bounced back after a disastrous start against Alabama. But you ask people around the league, and they keep mentioning like Jared Goff. And if you get Jared Goff out on a rookie contract, that's really good. But if it's like Jared Goff under pressure and the structure plays aren't there, is that the type of ceiling you're aiming for with like a top 10 pick? Maybe day 2 is the proper range for him. Jalen Milroe, meanwhile, number 4 on this list, is not like Carson Beck. He has a very strong arm, fantastic running ability, and plenty of dual threat playmaking skills. And the ability to just do a lot of very impressive stuff, pushing the ball downfield, making guys miss as a runner. There are times where he just holds the ball too long, doesn't feel pressure very well, and the intermediate passing isn't great. He's got great deep ball stuff, fits really well in this Kalen DeBoer-led offense, but I think the intermediate passing is an area of concern and questions, and you saw some bad stuff against South Carolina. Got to bounce back against the big-time Tennessee defense. So how many quarterbacks go in round 1 this year? Let me know in the comments section, the pinned comment, actually, of today's video, how many round 1 quarterbacks end up are there in this year's class. Number 5, Quinn Ewers. This, again, was a late day 1, early day 2 pick, just like Beck and Milroe, according to ESPN. I remain frustrated watching Quinn Ewers. Like, he's fairly composed under pressure, but his footwork is so bad. And look, footwork is a personal thing, and if it works for you, great. But I consistently see him step up in the pocket and miss guys high. I can't have that. That leads to picks. You saw it against Oklahoma. He missed dudes wide open downfield. So I remain unsold on Quinn Ewers. He's not pushing the ball downfield right now. His air yards per attempt is 122nd in the FBS. 34% of them have come at or behind the line of scrimmage. The downfield passing, outside of really 2 games, hasn't consistently been there yet. That is what you got to see over the remainder of this year's campaign. In the early to mid day 2 range, it's Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. In many ways, sometimes checks off that the old son of the coach, typecasting. He's the son of Doug Nussmeier. He actually makes more mistakes, though, than what you would normally expect to see out of the old coach's kid mindset. He just, got some what are you doing making that choice? He doesn't take many sacks. He does turn the ball over and is a bit more aggressive and risky than I would like to see there. But there are some flashes. If I were Nussmeier, I don't know if a 1-year sample size is going to be what you want to just put on film. I would say going back to school would be a good thing for Garrett. Give him some more development and get some more meat on his body, too. He's listed at 6'2", 200 pounds. That's pretty slender for a QB. Today's show is made possible by Game Time. Game Time has a new feature. It's called Game Time Picks. It makes getting tickets to your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to only show you the incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of different tickets. It's just curation, designed to save you even more on sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. The Game Time guarantee is this. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So do this. Go to GameTime.co, create your account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. You'll pull up the app, click that profile button in the bottom right. You'll see redeem code, plug in CHATSPORTS, ChatSports, for $20 off. Terms apply, but create that account, redeem the code, and get $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time with the link in the comment section and the description of today's show. So what time is it? It's game time. Drew Allers, number 7 here. By the way, the Penn State offensive coordinator, Andy Nicky, I think is how it's pronounced. If not, I'm terribly sorry, Andy, has done a fantastic job. His percentage is already up 10% this year, which is a massive jump to 70.5%. The tools are there. Size, arm strength. He's only 20 years old if he enters the draft. He still has to beat the Gen Z Christian Hackenberg allegations, though. He is Gen Z, right? I'm pretty sure he's Gen Z. Strong arm. The accuracy is just not always there. And there's some head-scratching mistakes. He will get to prove himself, just like Penn State in general will, when they play Ohio State in November. That is the most challenging game. Their schedule's kind of easy. It's Wisconsin, OSU, Washington, Purdue, Minnesota, Maryland. He can get him to the CFP, and that will get him plenty of attention in the draft as well. But the traits are intriguing. The finished product is not there yet. Number 8 is Jackson Dart. This one is mid to late day 2. He screams backup QB to me. Like, if you want that backup QB to execute your offense and manage the game, I think Jackson Dart can do that. Because he has benefited, just like, frankly, Quinn Ewers has, from one of the better offensive minds in college football. The Ole Miss offense, which is great for college, is a negative for evaluating NFL players, is a bit of a Mickey Mouse offense. Dudes are open every time. There's a lot of easy throws, open guys. I get worried when it comes to getting beyond that first read and progression because he doesn't have to do it that much relative to other teams. So I think there's backup ability here for sure, but I don't know if there's enough just overall processing ability and top-end arm talent. It's a good arm, but it's not an elite arm to justify him being like, yeah, this is our franchise guy. Backup, though? Yeah, for sure. If you guys want more NFL Draft YouTube videos, in the right spot. Hit that sub button right now so you don't miss out on anything. Miller Moss is the first of the early to mid day 3 picks for the projected range on ESPN. And this is kind of where I think you kind of don't have the same caliber of talent. I think even Jackson Dart, too. Look, he is a gutty quarterback. He'll try to throw things in there. The offensive line is not good. His arm is not very good either. I think he is very much a limited quarterback. I don't really see starting caliber stuff here. Yeah, he had a good week 1, been a bit up and down since then. I think this is more of a backup type of QB. I think that's where all these guys are. Curtis Rourke is next up, and this has been a riser this year. This is the Indiana quarterback. I think his overall play probably has more to the fact that I think Curt Cignetti is a fantastic coach. I think he's awesome. Because Curtis Rourke, if you don't know, I went to Miami, Ohio, so I watch a lot of MAC games because I care. He wasn't that good last year for Ohio. He really wasn't. He was better in 2022, but he has a very high completion percentage. He looks better against better competition this year. Now it's about to get more challenging. He's got Michigan and Ohio State on the schedule here. He's also been in college for 6 years. He's an old guy, but he's going to give himself a chance in the NFL now. OSU fans might not like this one. Kyle McCord transferred from Ohio State to Syracuse, and I think he looks better at Syracuse this year than he did at Ohio State last season, which doesn't really make any sense because he had better playmakers at Ohio State. So the growth here is pretty impressive. He gets the ball out quickly. There are still times where the general accuracy is not high enough. In terms of the balls are too high. It's not good enough is probably the proper terminology there. I think he can get a chance as maybe a 7th round pick or a 6th round pick if he goes pro. I think there's still plenty of development left for Kyle McCord. Number 12 is Dylan Gabriel. You have an undersized prospect here. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's been in college for 6 seasons. He's transferred twice. He does a good job of the short area of the field stuff, but I don't think his arm is good enough. I don't think he has a true NFL caliber arm. It is the Oregon Mickey Mouse offense where it's short stuff, it's wide open. He's got constant dudes that are just easy pitch and catches there. He is a very good college quarterback. I think he is going to be limited as a QB2 at best, maybe QB3 in the NFL. Finally, Will Howard, and this one got the undrafted free agent projection from ESPN. Look, I am still a little bit surprised that Ohio State built what they have called the best roster in college football history and put Will Howard in charge of the offense as just like a game manager. To be quite honest, and I'm not trying to be mean here, but he is, statistically speaking, is one of the worst quarterbacks in football under pressure. It's bad. He takes sacks. He doesn't go through his progressions. When it's on time, when it's easy, he can make the throws. He's tough. He's physical. He can run a little bit. When he gets heated up, it kind of all falls apart. And that was actually a big reason why Kansas State said, we're going to go with Avery Johnson instead. So UDFA grade feels about right so far. Chance to bump it up, though, if he plays well down the stretch. The 13 names were on that ESPN big board. Did they leave anybody off it? If so, let me know in the comments section. I got a couple names I want to mention here. The Connor Wigman stock has gone from he could be quarterback 1 to he wasn't even on the ESPN list. I think a transfer might be best for Wigman. He was better against Missouri, by the way, which I think is a big deal for him. The consistencies overall have just not been good. Have not been good enough. The arm is fine, but he has not played well for the most part against big competition. That hasn't changed on the stretch this year. Riley Leonard looks outright bad at Notre Dame. He can run, but he's not throwing the ball downfield at all successfully. He just doesn't look very good. Donovan Smith, at one point, had some fans preseason. I want to mention around because he's been terrible. He got benched at one point in Houston. Under the radar, Cade Klubnik, with more mobility, has played well for Clemson. Maybe could have been worth mentioning, though I think he should go back to school. And one small school guy for you, Mark Gronowski at South Dakota State. I want to mention him as well. All right, back to the Amari Cooper trade. Who won? C for the Browns, B for the Bills. 81% going with Buffalo. Definitely helps them. Kind of think they overpaid a little bit for what Amari Cooper is right now. But the Browns, Amari Cooper is your big winner here. How about that? He's your big winner. Because he gets to go from Deshaun Watson to Josh Allen. That's a huge upgrade. That's the best quarterback he's played with. Pretty clearly. Who in the trade? C for the Browns, B for the Bills. Get those votes in. As a reminder, we'll be back live Sunday with NFL Red Zone whip around coverage. Ali Barefoot, Sam Brown got you covered on that. Hit that sub button so you don't miss out. YouTube.com/chatsportstv.